Hello, 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 friends. It is I, Keisha Chanel, certified abundant life coach. Excuse me. And welcome to another edition of Coach Connection. Dun, 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 dun. Coach Connection. And my guest tonight is Seema Tina. I just love Seema. I really do love Seema. And this is, yes, it's the Queen. I love that name. I love your Instagram name. I just love that. Yes, it's the Queen. I just love it. I love the positivity in that. Like, yes, I love that. So, I was talking about my guest. Her name is Seema Tina, and she is just awesome. I just love Seema's energy. And this is Tabitha Nicole's La Di Da. Hey, guys. Thank you for joining. And there's Seema. Wonderful. All right. So, Seema requests to join. It's not letting me wave at y'all. Hello, Queen. Seema sent request to join the line. What the heck? Why is it doing that? View. Hello, Queen. Yes, this is gonna be a good one tonight, y'all. They're always good, but this is gonna be a good one. Anybody that's single, y'all just gonna love this. Yeah, if nobody has ever heard Seema just speaks with this thing, and it's just like it just gets you in a. I follow not Tabitha Brown. Her name is dang, what's her name?
There's my son.
But she said, "Get you in my sha-na-na." What is it? Nikita B. Her name is Nikita B. And she's always talking about her sha-na-na. When Seema talk, it gets you in the sha-na-na. I was just talking to her yesterday, just talking about something else. And I mean, and just her words, just in general, it just gets you in the sha-na-na. So this group, this chat is just gonna be all the way on point if you are single, and I think that's a guy that's joining. So you're just gonna love it, embracing singleness. So this is Seema. How are you doing, girl?
I'm doing
getting
great. How are you?
for the wonderfulness that is Seema. But it's fantastic, y'all. It's always a party when Seema's in the building. If anybody, and if you have not followed her yet, her Instagram is I am Simy.
Yeah,
She's gonna tell you.
Sima
She's gonna tell you.
Sima Tina. Yes.
Yes. So go on with it, girl.
Well, listen, I see my son has joined. My
Hi,
son is on here. He's 14.
Awesome.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Hi, son.
I had just told him, listen, y'all hold it down because mama got to do a call.
Awesome.
Anyway, I am so excited to be hanging out with you tonight. Just wanted to give everybody, if you don't know me, as she said, Seema Tina is my Instagram, SIMAYTINA. And I am a spirit-led confidence and healing coach. And I specialize in helping women transform, period. And so people ask me all the time, what do you mean by that? You know, I call myself a midwife. You know what a midwife is? A midwife is a woman that helps you birth out whatever it is that you want to, you know, a baby. So my job as your spirit-led confidence healing transformation coach is to help you birth out your confidence and healing. One of the things I wanted to say was before I got recertified last year, 2020, I was a relationship coach, which is why this subject is one of my babies when it comes to relationship, particularly with singles. When I say relationship coach, a lot of people automatically assumed that I was coaching people to, you know, get ready, you know, to get married and all that. And that's great. But I took it I just took it to a different place. I did more from a healing perspective for women who were just coming out of relationship and wanted to heal some of those pathologies so they can be prepared for the next one. No hurry to go in the other one, in a new direction, just working on what is or what has been. So I focus more on the back, where a lot of coaches focus on where you're going. So then once we finished our work, then they would go to someone else to talk about getting married. The reason why I did it that way is because I've been married twice. I felt like being married twice and divorced twice, I learned a lot. I'm sure, you know, most you can attest to that, Keisha. We learned a whole lot, probably the hardest way possible. However, I wanted them to be coached by someone who's actually walking it out in a functional, healthy way. Not saying I couldn't do it. People always ask me all the time, why, how come you don't do premarital counseling? I could, because I'm married, but I always give them to someone else who's actually walking it out. If I ever get married again, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll think about it. But I focus more on who you are today and how you became who you are today. Okay. And just healing all. Hey, Michelle, I think Michelle just joined. Healing all of that had happened back there. Because see, let me tell y'all something. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. But if you don't heal all that stuff back there, guess what? You're going to go into your new relationship. And this goes for romantic relationships, new work relationships, new friendships, all the ships. All the ships. You're going to take all of that in there and you will bleed on people. You're going to bleed. You need to heal those wounds. And you know how you have a wound and a scar? Like I have a scar on my leg where we probably should have gotten some stitches, but we didn't. And so I have this elevated scar. And the only way that thing will start bleeding again is if I cut it open, you know, and it would probably bleed. But right now it is healed. So what I can do, I remember what happened and all that. But if you guys don't heal all of that, it stays open. And so you start bleeding on people and you're trying to figure out, why do I act like this? Or they're trying to figure out why you act like, because you haven't healed some of your residual trauma and pain, dysfunction, abandonment, all of that. So, which is why we chose this topic tonight. I am Keisha Chanel about just enjoying your singleness. It is the greatest opportunity. I'm talking to all the single people. And y'all know, y'all got so many married friends that they want to be single and the single want to be married. I guess God said, y'all just ain't never satisfied. You just ain't satisfied. But a lot of times people make us, I say us because I'm in there with you, those of us who are unmarried. So I'm talking about anybody who might have a boo. Even if you engage, you're still single, boo. You're married when you get up there and say, I do. So I'm covering everybody who is single. And this is the greatest time to do a lot of self-work, a lot of self-love, a lot of healing, a lot of confidence boosting, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of boundary setting and enforcement. This is the greatest time to do that. What we have done customarily is wait till we get married and then try to do this. Okay. And then try to do it. And so your partner, you're trying to be a wife or a husband, all this is new, and you're trying to heal all this stuff. Because see, marriage, according to the word of God, brings a whole different scheme of things. That's why I say you can do more for the Lord while you're single. And what that really essentially is saying, you can do more work, preparing, becoming more Christ-like, getting your dysfunctions settled, all of that, being single, which is why I say to the ladies, stop being so desperate. Now, some of the women get so offended when I say that, but it is so true. Ladies, I want to tell you something. Do you not know, particularly if you're watching and you're an African-American female, that we are the top group of unmarried?
Didn't know that.
We are the group that is the most unmarried. Somebody said true. Hey, they say, hey, sister coaches. We are the group that is the most unmarried. So let me tell you what that does to us. It sets us up for this dynamic for our partners to somehow subconsciously think that we are in a hurry because we want to decrease those numbers. And trust me, I've seen it done on many pages. I'm not going to call some of these other image consultants or whatever. They use that against us, ladies, and say, well, y'all the number one group that's not married. So what's wrong with y'all? Ain't nothing wrong with us. We've become a little bit more aware. We're making more money. Y'all got to understand. Let's just look at the numbers. We're making more money. We're becoming more aware. We're becoming more open to options. We're becoming, so it's, hey, Toya. So it's like, our counterparts are using that against us, which makes a lot of us rush. Okay, rush. So for the woman who's watching tonight or who will watch later, who's 37, 38, and feels like, oh my gosh, I haven't had any children yet, and you're trying to rush God. I had both of my sons at 37 and 39. Listen, honey, delayed is not denied.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Delayed is not denied.
Mm-hmm.
Just because God has delayed, he is not denied. One of my favorite scriptures today in my meditation this morning, Isaiah 40 and 31. If you read your word, you can write it down. But it simply says that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. That's the first sentence. There's more, but that first sentence says, if you wait, God will renew your strength as you wait. I go back to my first statement. Stop being so desperate. You know, y'all out here in these relationships, social media streets, just like, oh, I got to get married. Oh my God, I got to get married. And it's freaking me out because it's like, don't do that. Because what you attract to yourself is someone who has picked up on your energy, your frustration. And you probably are going to attract a wound partner instead of purpose partner. See, because people who live in purpose, they know timing is everything. Do you understand what I'm saying, Keisha? Timing is everything when it comes to purpose. So I think tonight we wanted to talk about how do you not do that and what you can do while you wait. I see some hearts. What you can do while you wait. So, do you have some, did you want to ask me a question, or do you want me to go into what I feel like they can do while they wait?
Well, no, I just wanted to piggyback on some things that you said.
Okay.
What I heard you say about, and just like to relate my experience, because I'm one of those women that are single. And I also went into that thing of being desperate. And I found myself, I did the live before I did to introduce this one coming up. I have a big brother, like, that lives next door to me. Like, God sent this big brother to me. And he would tell me, he says, don't let your desperation turn you into somebody that you're not. And he's just like, because when I was on the social media, well, not on social media, on the dating apps, and like, because the dating app was getting ready to expire and it was my last date. And it was just like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if I don't go out with this guy and this doesn't work. And it's like, don't let that turn you into somebody that you're not. Don't settle for somebody with sex when you really want love. Don't settle for somebody that's going to split the bill when you want to be paid fully. Don't settle for somebody that's, that gentleman, and don't be so desperate, because there is so many different men out here if you just believe about it and wait patiently and look forward to it with expectancy. And because that was my whole thing, was the expectancy piece. Because it's one thing to have the expectancy piece when you're just starting out. Because like when I first got on the dating sites, it was just like, yes, this is going to be fantastic. I'm here. I'm a coach now. I attract great guys. And I attracted some really great guys, college professors and, business owners and really good guys. But at the same time, when it got towards like, okay, it was only a 6-month subscription. I was like, at the end of 6 months, I was like, okay, I haven't found that one that's magic. Okay, and that desperation starts to creep in, The day gets a little colder at night. You get a little hornier, and it's just like, what's God, what's going on? Why? And so it's just like, and that's what he came in, God really sent him as that reminder, don't let that desperation turn you into something that you're not. You really want love. Don't settle for this guy that just wants to have sex with you. Don't let that happen, because that's what you're going to stay in this cycle as long as you do that, So it's just like that whole thing about the desperation piece is just so big. And then I think I heard you say something about, that we give that energy off, or they can tell about us being desperate. Sometimes it's like it's within us, and like you don't have that intention. You don't have the intention because it's like we know we're college educated. We've been there and done that with the divorce and learning, and like you said, us Black women, we do our healing work. But it's just like, but wait, why is it taking so long? And trying to rush through it, and it's just like, it just happened. It's just a human experience, and the whole thing about loneliness and, all those emotions that come along with it. You know, it's not necessarily something that other people do. It's something that's deep inside, something that we need to address yet again. And even if we've done our healing work, sometimes it takes readdressing. Because I have done healing work for 25 years,
Yeah, me
25,
too, girl.
you know? And so it's
21 for
just like,
me.
yeah. And so it's just like, it comes up, but it's okay, you know, for us to keep on the journey. But, you know, that big key of just enjoying our singleness. And like
Hmm.
just today, you know, a co-worker was like, you know, I want to get a divorce. And I was just like, okay. You know, she's like, well, how are you reacting like that? I said, it's okay. You know, divorced people want to, married people want to be single and single people want to be married. But, you know, my reality is, I don't know if I want to be married. You know, just the idea of watching somebody else's drawers again. You know, I like the fact I don't have to cook at night, you
You
know?
want to cook
So,
it?
yeah. So it's just like
Better weigh
that
it
whole
out.
thing. Yeah, we always think that the grass is greener on the other side, but it's just
Absolutely.
like, yeah, you know, so this topic is very timely about, you know, what we can do now in our singleness, right now in our present state to honor ourselves and honor God and just keep going in that right direction. So yeah, just you know, continue with what you were going, but I just wanted to piggyback and, you know, and affirm what you said because I relate to it very wholeheartedly, as I'm sure everybody else now or on the replay will too.
Right. And I think as single women, sometimes we don't want to, we want everybody to think, you know, girl, I'm good over here. And we don't want to
Mhm.
confess that I had a period of desperation. I was feeling like, oh my God, my time running out. Or I'm
Mhm.
lonely sometimes. Or yeah, I don't know if I want to be married yet, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm really getting, you know, like in this single thing either. It's okay. It's okay to say, I don't
Mhm.
really know if I want to get married, particularly if you've been married before and it was a really rough situation and rough divorce. I mean, we got to
Mhm.
really look at what divorce really is. When you get up there and say, I do, and it says that they shall cleave, which is another word for glue, and become one. Now, when you snatch it apart, it's like taking two pieces of paper and glue it together. And when you pull the paper apart, Keisha, this person over here might have 3/4 of the paper and half of yours. And you
Mhm.
over here with one little
Mhm.
piece. You over here with one little piece. Look, one little piece like this. All, they took all of
Exactly.
mine plus theirs. And you trying to, and then you already, you feeling like you want to go into another relationship. No, baby, you got one piece. It's going to take time to put all the pieces back because you've got to go back and dig deep and pull and repair put all these pieces back together. So what I want to say to the
Mhm.
ladies is, you know, you said something I really like when you were talking about, you know, 6 months, you know, you signed up for the dating site, 6 months came, you're like, oh my God, it's 6 months, you know. And you're like, God, it hasn't happened yet. But guess what? The person that God has for you, he's probably somewhere feeling the same way. But
Mhm.
also realizes that he's got such a mantle upon his life, like you have, and most of us, the single women that I know, have upon their life, that you cannot afford to link up, to cleave, glue together with the wrong person. So
That's
it is
true.
worth it to wait. I want y'all to hear this clearly, particularly if you have a mantle upon your life. You cannot, you know, our coach tells us, you cannot glue yourself to the wrong person. First of all, who doesn't, number one, understand the sacrifices that you're going to be making for the call or the mantle that's upon your life. See, that's why they got to have one too, because they understand it. So how do you know that while you over there trying to go out on dates, which go out and have a good time, God has him on the backside of a mountain like David, preparing him because he know I got you a beautiful bride. Her name is Keisha. But I'm telling you, she's smart, she's strong, she's passionate, she's got a serious mountain on her life that she takes very seriously. You can't be going up in there half stepping.
You
I
can't.
got to
You
prepare you.
can't.
So while you over here waiting, he going through something. That's how
Yeah.
God
That's true.
teaches us and trains us. He's going through something, right?
Mhm.
And he
Yeah.
probably gonna date women and be like, "Man, all right, she was really beautiful and everything, but we just didn't connect." Well, later he's gonna have a light bulb moment and say, "That's why, because God was preparing me for Keisha." That's
Mhm.
why I
Put
said
that in the
Isaiah
comments, y'all. It's
40:31.
worth it
Okay.
to wait. Put it in the comments. It's worth it to wait. That was a whole big old chunk of gold right there. If anybody relates to anything that she said, put that in the comments. But that hit me good. It's worth it to wait. Thank you for them hearts. You froze up, Seema. Hearts. Hey, boo. Uh-oh. She sent the request. Now that'll work. Looks like she got kicked off. Okay, and I got a comment here. So I can see
Okay,
it.
I'm back.
Okay, great. I got a comment here. Can you read that comment, Seema? It's hard to see it.
Which one? Latoya?
Yes, I
She
am Latoya
says,
B.
okay, for a long time after my relationship, I felt like I don't want a main or a man relationship or anything. I'm happy by myself. Yes, I felt like that for years, Latoya. And I was until recently. I am healed from that past and now moving on. Latoya, you made a great point that there are seasons where you're going to be isolated. Y'all gonna have to what's the word I want to say here? You're gonna have to embrace those seasons of isolation. Okay, think about it. Think about it. I want y'all to think about something for a minute. Before they release anything new, like that iPhone 13 that just came out, that's just released, there was a season of isolation, y'all. And somebody in the backside was working on all the workings of the iPhone 13, how it's going to be different from the 12, which is what I have. And it was a season of isolation, preparing for its release. So what I want to say for those of you who come out of relationships and you're single now, you gotta give yourself a season of isolation. Don't go on no dates. Okay, because this, you know, that the thing that people say the best way to get over one is to get under another. That is not true.
Tried it, didn't work.
Didn't work.
Tried a couple times.
That did not work. I'm gonna let y'all know it didn't work. All it's gonna do is get you confused. Now you got to heal from the relationship or the marriage you left and the part of you gave to this person.
And them spirits that he had in him, because he hadn't healed yet, because he
Yeah,
had his divorce,
y'all
got
don't
all in me, and all the spirits that he had slept with before me. It was a whole cluster of spirits. So yeah,
so don't add
we
layers
got
that
some
you don't need
comments
to
coming
add.
through. No, no lies. I see you, Keisha. Ha ha ha. Well done.
Well
That
said.
felt
Yes,
good.
it felt good. I bet it did,
I
Latoya,
followed
to
you.
have that
Okay, good.
moment.
You got a new follower, girl.
Yeah, to
It's
have that
true.
moment to you need time to decompress.
Yeah.
Decompress. So one of the things I would do with my clients, remember when I was a relationship coach, this is something that we did. So I'm gonna give y'all some free coaching today. Y'all want some free coaching?
Woo! Free 99, ladies.
Free 99. I like free 99. I love giving free 99s. Okay, so what I would do, 4 steps. So if that's you and you're coming out of a relationship, you're like, I don't know what to do, seeing in my singleness. I could sit here and give you what I call my 3 B's. What I call my 3 B's is you work on your body, your brain, and your brand. Okay, somebody write it down. Put that in the chat. Your body, your brain, and your brand. Now, the body doesn't mean you need to be a size 2. I want to make that clear. It simply means start working on feeling good inside. That's part of your healing. And on the outside, working out, eating right, get to the gym, whatever makes you happy. Okay, I'm not saying drop 100 pounds. That's between you and the Lord. Okay, but you work on your body. The second thing is your brain. Read. Get off the these what you call them reality TV, because it's not real. Okay, they only show you what they want to show you, and a lot of times they have to add to it to make it, you know, to make it worth the show. Right?
Yeah.
So don't get off of it. Read. Let me tell you something. There are so many books and resources, conferences. I mean, you got social media at your fingertips. Anything you need to know, you can Google it. Anything. Ask any question. There's an answer out there. Read. Yes, Latoya, your body, your brain, and your brand. And your brand, do you guys realize that you are your brand? So when you walk into a room, the brand walked in. So I am Keisha Chanel, walks in everywhere you go. When you go into Starbucks, here she comes. Here's my brand. When you go into Walmart or wherever you go, the brand walks in. You
That's a
are
reminder.
your brand. See, when we say brand, we think, oh, I got to have a nice Facebook cover and I got to have a video. All that's great. That's marketing. But your brand is you. So when you die, you want to, how do y'all know Seema Watina? Oh, man, she was so powerful. She did this, she did that. That's my brand. Ain't nobody going to say, girl, her Facebook cover was fly.
You ain't kidding about that. That's
They
like
ain't gonna
reminds me of
say,
that quote by Maya Angelou. People remember something about you, but they'll remember the way that you make them
you made them
feel.
feel.
That's gonna be
That's
that.
it.
Yeah,
That's your
that's true.
brand.
That's
So,
right.
and to just show it to you, like what's an example of, the Q-tip. You know the Q-tip you clean your ear out with? Well, if you
Hmm.
go to Walmart and get the Walmart brand, don't you still call it a Q-tip?
Sure do. Sure do. Kleenex tissue. Even if it's a Kroger
I
brand,
need a
still
Kleenex,
Kleenex
and it's a
tissue.
CVS brand,
Yep.
but it's still a Kleenex. That's
Yep.
how you build a brand, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you build a brand.
Yeah.
So she said, work on your body, your brain, and your brand. But let me go back to the coaching. So the free coaching, 4 steps that I would do with my ladies who were coming out of a relationship. The first step, this was a 4-week program. So the first week we would do a self-awareness exercise where I would have them talk about how they grew up. I asked them about their parents, like what's the relationship with your mom and dad? How was their relationship? Just go ahead and be real with it. We talk about how they feel about themselves. What's something that you think you do well? And believe it or not, a lot of the women that I work with, when I asked them that, they was like, I don't know. And I'm like, baby, how can you, extend your brand when you don't know what you do well? It's okay to say, girl, I'm good at this, this, and that. See, that's part of your
Sure is.
self-confidence.
It's important, actually. Yeah.
Right. And I would ask them what is something that if they wanted to change about themselves, what it would be. And we talked about why. Okay. So that
That's
was
good.
first week. We worked on that, just building a foundation of who they are. And I'm explaining to you why we did it that way in just a minute. Week number 2, we would do what I call a relationship resume. Okay. You know how you guys have your professional resume? Hey there. Somebody says, hey. You know how you have your professional resume. And so when you apply for a job, you send your resume and they can make a determination of your skills and experience from one piece of paper. Isn't that amazing? Like
It
off
is
one piece of
important.
paper. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you gotta have a good resume, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, when you look at your relationship resume, and some of y'all tonight gonna be in the bed going, let me write mine down. What mine look like? Because when I wrote
It's a
mine
good
down, it
idea.
didn't look too good. It's like, because what it showed me was that I did not know how to set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't even gotten to the enforcement part. I didn't even know how to set it. So there might be a line, but they just trampled all over the line in my relationships, in my resume. So I had them do their relationships. I had them to document all significant keywords, significant relationships. Some women had 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7. Some of them had 1. I need you to write it down, and I want you to write down how you felt during that relationship. I also want you to write down the things that you liked about the relationship and the person, and that you disliked about the relationship and the person. And then I want you to write down, hey there, somebody said, hey, Queens. I want you to write down why it ended, what was your part, and what was his. Okay? That was that second week. One of my clients said, man, you got some hard homework. That's why I'm the coach.
But you
Okay?
got to do that hard homework so that way when you
Got to
become
do it.
self-aware, that helps so much, for the next relationship.
Gotta do it. That's part of self-awareness. And then, like my friend Petya on Facebook said, awareness is not enough. You got to be aware, and then you got to move and do something about what you found out about yourself. Okay?
That's
So we
true.
go,
Yeah.
this is week 3. Before we go into this exercise I have them do in week 3, we look at their relationship resume. We look at it together. I don't tell them before the 3rd week that we're going to do this because I want them to be on the spot, right? And we look at their resume together, and I say, okay, do you see some trends? Or I call them pathologies. That's what Iyanla Van Zant calls them. Pathologies, trends, flags. What do you see? And at first they used to say, I don't know. And then I start asking questions. Again, as a coach, our job is to ask questions. And they're like, wow, I really picked my daddy every time. He just looked different, but he was my dad. And I'm like, there you go. Now, why you think you do that? And then we go back to week 1 when they talked about usually that their dad was either there and not present or missing altogether. And they were trying to create a dad. We create a dad by, finding these people who we really want them to be a daddy. And that's kind of why the relationship might not work, because your husband should not be your daddy. He should be your partner and your lover. Okay, so get him out of the daddy zone. Whether you had one or not, you got to get your husband out of the daddy zone. Okay, so we go through the pathologies. It's usually a lot of light bulb moments because they're like, God, I can't believe I did that. And then we talk about where you get that from. Usually there's a pathology before them, either with mom, auntie, grandma, somebody who did the same thing. So I want to say to you moms out here and dads, you don't have to say a word. You just be, and your kids watch every move you make. Every move. And they will ultimately repeat things not even knowing that they repeated it. So then someone like, I know. Ask me how I know. I'm like, everybody said, oh my God, you look just like your mom. I do. And I've acted like her too. A lot. And so you have to come, you're like, golly, I mean, wow, that was my grandma, my mom, and me. We all did the same thing. How did that happen?
All of us, grandmother. And the thing is, we never had conversation about it. Never had conversation. I didn't realize it until I was 40 and I had my own kids, and I was like, oh, I did it. And the thing was, it was the thing that I didn't like the most. And I was like,
most of that.
You did the exact same
You did the exact things. Listen, that's why men, that's why I tell these ladies, don't get caught up in the man and say, because my daddy was absent and I'm just not trying to be that one. Hun, they be the main one absent. Because they they repeat it. Somehow you repeat something. You're like, I don't even know how I did that. Okay. Hey there. And so the last part of week 3, this is their favorite part. We do an exercise where they score several things from 1 to 10. This is to help me establish what it is that they're looking for in a mate. Okay. Y'all got to go into these dates, take the desperation out and go in strong, bold. Listen, she said, yep, I would need to fix it. Me too, Michelle, because guess what my mama did? Fixed everybody in the family.
And I did too until month 4 of a match. I was like, no, you can't do that no more.
You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? I
can't do that no more.
My mama was, excuse my expression, but I say this, my mom was Captain Save-A-Ho. She done saved everybody in the family. They half the people live with us. We was always like, Mom, who living with us now? They needed someone. I bless their heart. And you just like, oh my God, And so you pick up that spirit. You pick up that spirit. And next thing you know, and you're in this codependent relationship and you're trying to figure out how in the world I got here. It's because it's a pathology and it will repeat itself until someone decides, oh, it's going to stop with me.
It has to. But it takes such a decision because it is so ingrained, especially when it's generational. And that's one thing that I think it was Rebecca that said it, the same way that we could pass down generational trauma, we could pass on generational healing. But we got to make the choice and do the work, And what you're doing is wonderful. And what we're both doing is wonderful. We gotta get these folks together. I mean, we gotta get ourselves together. Because like you said, we ain't even gotta say 2 words. I don't say 2 words to my child. And when she do the relationship and I'm just sitting there like, what? You did the exact same thing I did, but you saw what I went through with your father. Why? But it's what she saw and it's what she did, So, but what I see though, and I've been realizing, I said the same way that I'm healing and I'm 100 times better, she gonna be too. Because he had me, he's gonna have her too. So he has her. So he has her too. So it's just like, generational healing is happening. Damn it, it's happening.
Exactly. And so I asked the question on my page, y'all, and I'm gonna prove it to you. On my page, I said,
Mhm.
how many of y'all did your parents talk about healing and or therapy, counseling, or any of that? And out of, I think I got like 200 or 300 comments.
Mhm.
Probably 99% said no. A lot of them said, no, our healing was Jesus and the Holy Ghost.
Mm.
Uh, our healing was a belt.
Tell me about it. You gotta give to the people in the back and down the street and around the corner. Our healing
Oh,
was a battle.
belt. Like, oh,
But
so you want to
it
go to
didn't
school?
work
Shut
at
up.
the time. It worked at the time. It wasn't until I was 40 freaking 5, 48, and I was like, this is why I'm codependent and why I try to please everybody. I tried to please her and try to please him. And it's just like, this is why.
Is that crazy? What somebody said, girl, the healing ours was a belt. When you come home, your mom said, "Oh, so you gonna go to school and act up and be angry?" You know, and the child was probably exhibiting some anger because there's something going on at home, and whatever. Or it could be a tension, like, okay, if I cut up, then I get everybody's attention. But instead of looking at it that way, you getting a beat down, boo. You're gonna get a beat
Mhm.
down, and guess what that did? It made it
Mhm.
worse.
Made it worse. Made it work. And then when you try, because I was just the definite, hey, I can't do that to my kids. I did the exact same thing.
See, now that I had my children at 37 and 39, because if I had them in my 20s, I probably would have done the same because I ain't know no better. Right?
Yeah.
But now I'm teaching my children, like, they get in trouble, but we're going to talk about why you got in trouble and what you can do
Mhm.
next time to stay out of trouble. I ain't going to just beat you or put you on punishment and not tell you what you did and how it made me feel, and then allow you to explain how it made you feel. See, that was the other
Mhm.
thing, that we didn't get to voice our opinion. We had 0 voices. Like, this
Zero
won't go,
voices.
get out. You ain't got no voice. What
Mhm.
I wanted, you ain't got no wants. My mama said, you ain't got no wants and needs.
Now I did give them more voice. I gave them more voice because it's like I tried my best to give them what I didn't have and what I wanted to receive, or what I thought that I wanted to receive at the time. So I did give them more voice, and so it's just like I did do some of it, but I mean that was my first go-to with the belt until they was like 15 and
Then you
14.
can't,
Like you can't do that, so you
right.
gotta talk.
Exactly. My son did some today, and I
We got
said,
a couple of
Jeremiah, you can't.
comments.
Somebody said, yes, generation healing, taking that. All attention ain't good attention. Yes, ma'am.
I
I
tell
told
my
my
daughter.
son today, I had said something about something he did, and he came back with a rebuttal, a smart one at that. So I said, Jeremiah, first of all, that was disrespectful because I'm your mom. And number two, when you get into the real world and somebody calls you on something or tries to correct you or to help you by calling out something you can do better, you can't come back with a smart rebuttal. That's not smart. It doesn't say that you have accountability or responsibility. Okay. Now, my
Mm.
mom would have never had that conversation with me. She'd just smack me across the back of my head and told me to go in my room. Right. And
Exactly.
then I'm like, what I
Exactly.
do? What I do? But
Mhm.
now he understands why that's not going to work. Not only is it not going to work with me, but it's not going to work in the real world. You're going to have
Yeah.
people who are going to correct you. You can't always come back. You need to listen to what they're saying. And if you were wrong, say, you know what? I'm sorry and I apologize. That's the
That's
conversation I had with
awesome.
my son today. But getting
That's
back to
pretty
the
awesome.
coaching, the exercise, they have 10 things they have to rate it from 0 to 10 on what's more important to them. Now, how many of y'all have ever done this as a single person, sat down and really thought, what's important to me as far as a partner? Usually we figure this out by making bad choices. Then we say, I ain't gonna date nobody else no more that had kids. That was just a mess. But the next person that may come along that has kids may be different. Okay. So I took the focus off what happened before, and these decisions that we've made in our brain, in our heart, that we ain't gonna never do again because of pain, trauma response.
Mhm.
So I asked them to say, forget it. Really be honest with yourself. How important is sex? So they have to give it a score. I had women who scored 1 all the way up to 10, right? Yes. Yeah. So the lady who had 1, we had to talk about, okay, when you go out, when you have to understand it, that's all sex is important to you is 1. You can't marry a man that sex is a 10. Y'all ain't gonna make it, boo.
Mhm.
You got
Yeah.
to, you got to come up to 5 and he got to come down to 5. Y'all can talk about that. But you can't stay at 1 and him at 10. People's needs are not being met. Okay.
Yeah.
One was family, finances, parents. You got to talk about if you have parents that are living, what happens when they get sick, and is this important to you? You don't wait until after you've been married 10 years. A parent has a heart attack or something, they got to come live with me, and the other person's like, Lord, I can't take it. First of all, can't be with one queen up in here. Okay?
That's right.
So we have to talk about that. So that was on the list. Children, where they work, how much money they made. It didn't have anything to do with teeth, height, abs, none of that stuff. See, I gotta put teeth. He gotta have some nice teeth, boo. That's why they got dentists now, girl. You can go to Atlanta and get a whole new set. Next. Girl, you mean to tell me you're gonna turn down a beautiful man who loves you and accepts your children, who treats you like a queen, who provides, because he got 2 little teeth that's hanging down a little bit longer than the other?
I don't know now. I can't
no.
I can't do all the teeth falling out of his mouth. I can't do a whole mouthful of dick or no teeth.
I got a problem with the teeth falling out. But they don't have to do that no more. They got better teeth. Because see, that's a trauma thing. I have to tell y'all next time why I'm afraid of false teeth. But I have to tell y'all next time. But anyway, somebody laughs. I'm afraid of false teeth. Okay, fine. I just told y'all. But what I'm saying is, if you and that person have an amazing partnership and you are comfortable with communicating, you can say, babe, what's going on with your teeth? My sister laughs at me because I sure will tell one, boo, your teeth, you got to do something about your teeth. Listen, it's okay. And if he loves you, he probably gonna say, I've been trying to get them things fixed, and he will go and get it fixed, you guys. Credit is another one. Now, credit is kind of hit or miss. Because I've repaired my credit a few times, to me, bad credit, again, we talking about a man that everything else is great. It's not a problem. Baby, SEMA can work with you on the credit, okay? But we go through the whole list, and they get to really see a real picture of what's really important to them.
So,
and
SEMA, I'm going
to
to get me all the way straight, because I need the teeth and I need the credit. So I need you to get me all the way straight. Because I'm like, wait a minute now. I worked hard to get this 800, daggone it. You got to have 800.
All you got to do is put that on the preference list. It is not a deal breaker. That's all I'm saying. So he got to check all the boxes on your standard list. These are the things that are the deal breakers. And they better be things dealing with character and things like that. Don't be putting no teeth and big feet and all that over here. Okay?
What about the big hands?
No, because there's some folks with big hands that ain't big. I'm just telling you. Don't y'all believe it. He said, use the credit card for the team. Who is suddenly Tiffany? Girl, I'm high-fiving you. Use the credit card for the... Woo! Baby, we got you a whole new set. He'll be smiling like, my baby and fix my mouth. What? Okay. But you have your preferences and your standards. Your standards should be things like character, things like if he has children, does he take time with his children? Is he not? Because see, I can't stand nobody that sent a check and ain't showed up. I can't stand it. But that's because I have children, and that happened to me growing up. No, that's a deal breaker. So that's on my standards. But over here, my preference list, y'all, is open to evolving and compromise. As you grow.
What about income, Stephen? One of the things for me is like, what about income? Because one thing for me is like, he's got to have either my income or higher. What about income? What are your thoughts about that?
Right. I used to be the same way. They used to be me saying, because see, trauma response. I already went through this with the ex-husband when my income was twice, right? And we struggled with that not because I cared, but I really believe he had an issue with the fact that I make more money. Okay, so that would be a serious conversation I'm going to have with this person, right? To try to figure out, to discern how they feel. Because I'm going to tell y'all something, as Black women, you're probably going to make more money. Y'all need, the average African-American male makes $45,000 a year. Y'all hear me? Let me say it again. Yeah. The average American black male makes 45 grand. When one of my other male coaches told me, and I said, "Nuh-uh, you lying." I went and researched, and daggone if they wouldn't tell the truth. I'm like, oh my God, we over here looking for 6 figures, 6 feet, and 6 packs. That's 3 sixes. To me, listen, y'all can have the 3 sixes. Listen, only a certain percentage of African American males make 100 grand or more, 6 figures. So when you do that, you're going to cut down your possibilities significantly. Here's what I say to it. If I had found me someone who makes 50,000, but he was just like me, because that's where I used to be. But then when I have my coaching business and I also work full time. So you put that together, you see what I'm saying? So if he's working on something like that, I can work with it. See, so don't draw the line in the sand. Don't draw the line. You're going to have to, what I would do with that is put over on your standards that he must have, that he must be gainfully employed. Operative word, gainfully, meaning he's in a place where he can grow. Okay. You got to have conversations with him to understand that. Now, if you go out with him, he talking about, I can't stand it. He ain't in no gainful employed. He employed. Do y'all hear me? He's employed. Gainfully means he's employed somewhere and he's looking to move up, promote himself, and things like that. You gotta listen for the gainfully employed. Then on your preference list, you can say, yes, Michelle, when you pull that money together, you at 6 figures.
That's a good way to see it, Michelle.
One of my male coaches, shout out to JL Lighton, who helped me with that, because that's how I was, I realized it was a trauma response. It was a response to trauma that I had experienced with my ex-husband when it comes to money. Okay. That's the only reason I'm like, he got to make me the same thing I'm making. No, when you put your money together, you're at 6 figures. Okay. My thing is put the income that you would like him to have on your preference list, leave it open, pray about it, walk in expectancy, and you're going to get somebody who's gainfully employed and makes what you make. Okay. Or you might get someone who's gainfully employed who can potentially make what you make. And 2 years from now, girl, he done passed you. How you don't know. You see how you cut out your opportunities if you draw the line in the sand. Last week of the coaching, the very last week, we talk about the exercise from the week before and what was important to them. And we come up with their, I hate to say list, but what it is that they need. These are your standards and these are your preferences. And I'll be honest with y'all and tell y'all, many of my female African-American women, we would argue about stuff like teeth. He got to have a nice car. He need to have a 3,000 square foot home. And I'm like, what? Girl, if you don't put that over there on his preferences, that ain't got nothing to do with no character, because there's some men who have a 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, 12,000 square foot home, and there's a woman in every room every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's over there. How does he, here's one. You got to see him in all 4 seasons. When he ain't got no money, when his money ain't got tight, what happens? That's why when you meet these men with all this money, but then what happens when he lose it all? You don't know how he gonna act, because you ain't never seen him, and his money is funny. Okay, how does he act when he doesn't get his way? How does he act when he's disappointed? Maybe something he really, really wanted and it didn't happen. How does he act when his baby mama will not allow him to see his children? Does he start calling her bees and hoes and all that? Y'all gotta watch. Listen. How does he act when he's happy? Does he go out with his boys and celebrate and leave you there? Or does he include you in his celebration? How does he act when he does get his way? How does he act with his mom, with his children, with his baby mom, with his family members? How does he act with his boys when they come around? Does he act like he don't know you? Mm-hmm. You gotta see him in all seasons. So all of that is character, loyalty, integrity, How does he act when you ask him about something that you know the answer is hard to communicate? Does he still tell the truth and walk in his uncomfortability, or does he lie and throw, shove it away? How does he act when you ask him something that's uncomfortable? How does he act when he's upset with you? Does he cut you off and not speak? Okay. So that's why you got to have on your standards list these character things. These are the important things you got, because after the sex gets old, after y'all got so much money that you can't even spend it all, and you just empty nesting it, after he was 6'3" and dark and handsome and six-pack, girl, six-pack been gone. Okay. After all of that, you're going to want you a man that's loyal, that's respectful. He treats you and all other women respectfully, not just you, all women. If you had children, how he's going to respond to your children when they do something that maybe he doesn't like, but you and their dad is okay with it. Y'all got to watch for this stuff, okay? How does your children feel about him? All of this, these are things that go on your list of character. And if you are of any faith and you want to be equally yoked, you want to make sure that, for me, I used to say, he gonna have to be strong in the faith, because I ain't dragging nobody around. But I have also come to the realization that, and I need more than somebody who just got up and said, okay, I accept Christ, because you're still a babe, right? I need you to be on some meat. Come on off the milk. But I don't want you to be no holy roller either. See, so you got to put your parameters in it, as far as their spirituality, because he's going to be the priest and the leader of your home. Okay. So you want somebody who can lead. Okay. What is his leadership skills? Somebody asked me, Seema, how do you, one of my male friends who follow me on Facebook asked me, do you think I would be a good husband? I said, I don't know, because I don't really know. I don't know that much about you. I mean, I know you from when we grew up, but I've never seen you lead anything. I've never seen you with a woman. I've never seen you in action. I got to see all that before I can't just go on what I think I know. And I don't think, they like that answer, but that's the truth. I can't tell you you'll be a good husband based on your looks and maybe what you make or what I see. I need to see you walking it out before you are a husband. Before you are a husband. Okay?
And that's the same thing for us too, before we're wives, because it's stuff that we have to do, It's
exactly.
Like suddenly Tiffany said standards versus preferences. And even the fact that we have to sit down and do the work that you're talking about, getting our standards and getting our preferences. That's part of being a wife, because otherwise we could just be screwing whoever and not set those standards and get those preferences and, get everything in line like it's supposed to be.
Right. And then one last thing I get this question a lot too, like, Seema, when you go out to date somebody, and what if at the end of the day, you already know in your heart that it just wasn't, it didn't work out, and you really don't want to go on another date with the person. I don't know what it is. Women have a hard time with saying, this just didn't work. It's very simple, lady. This is part of your, how Judge Lauren Lake says on paternity court, you got to put your big girl panties on. This is part of your growing up and setting boundaries and being able to effectively communicate all those things you need to be as a wife. You got to work on all of that while you're single. So while you're praying and asking God to help you and prepare you to be a wife, he's going to put you in a situation where you have to communicate your true feelings, not stuff it, communicate. Sir, I really enjoyed my time with you tonight. This was a beautiful night. I enjoyed it. However, this is called the truth sandwich. You give them an affirmation first. However, I really did not feel a connection. He's going to feel rejected. Y'all, that's part of life. Rejection is your protection. Okay. And because we would feel the same way. Don't we feel rejection? We ladies feel rejection. But I would rather feel the rejection now than to put in a year with somebody and you really not into that person. Stop taking red flags as a challenge. Stop taking a red flag as a challenge. That's what we do. Well, girl, he didn't do this well, but together I can help him with that. Right? If this got something to do with character or whatever, that's a red flag. If every time y'all go out, he cussing out the waiter, that's a red flag. Okay? That's in here. That's an internal thing going on with him. I can help him with his teeth. I can help him with his credit. But these internal things, that's an inside job. Okay?
And you have to be willing to heal, because a bunch of them don't and ready to heal.
Nope.
Because that was part of the thing that I put in the dating site. Like when we would talk, are you willing to heal? Are you willing to do some work? Oh no, especially because of everybody that I had, all of them had been divorced. And well, one of them went to therapy, but all of them was like, oh, I go to church. So that's not the same thing.
That ain't the same.
That's the same. Yeah.
So
they gotta be willing to do the work. That's
Let me
true.
tell y'all, Keisha, you hit it on the nail. If you're on the dating sites, but I'm not. I mean, I've never been on there. But if you're out dating, I recommend you date more than one person, ladies. Some people don't agree with it, but that's just my opinion. Stop choosing the first one that's nice to you, honey. That don't mean nothing. You go on out on some dates, okay? Don't mean you got to sleep with them all. See, men think you sleeping with them, but that's not true. We don't have to sleep with them. We go out on dates. I always tell people, when somebody's interviewing for a CEO, they don't never choose the first person they interview, even though they think the person is perfect for the job. They're going to interview every resume that come across their desk first, just in case, right? Why can't we do it for the number one decision or number two decision we're going to make in life outside of our salvation is who we marry? That's a destiny decision. Why can't we do it? Right?
Yeah.
So while you're dating, for those of you who have invested time and money and sacrifice into your own healing, make them do the same thing. Now that to me should be on the standards. Absolutely.
Yeah. And suddenly Tiffany says there are even multiple interviews at that, and that's a good point.
Multiple interviews.
Yeah.
So you get the first one, they narrowed down to 5, they narrowed down to 3, they narrowed down to 2, and the 2 they got to go before the whole board. And
exactly. Yeah.
You see why? If we're gonna do it in corporate America, why can't we do that for the second most important decision we're gonna make in life, and that's who you're gonna walk out your life with, your partner? It's a destiny decision. Ask Whitney Houston how she was called to such a great mantle on her life. She married someone who was not only insecure, but didn't have nothing really going on. And he pulled her down because she was so worried about losing him that she dimmed her light. And I don't know about you, if you put a bag over top of a candlestick, it's going to burn right through. Okay? So listen, you can't do that. You're going to be just as miserable. And I think a lot of that was the reason why she lived her life the way she lived, because she really couldn't spread her wings like she really wanted to, because she was afraid of outshining this person. So you don't want it. I just talked about that, having a mantle on your life. You don't want somebody who you got to always be dragging around like a ball and chain. Come on, babe, we're going to our meeting because we're going to hit $1 million, and he's still talking about what meeting. Come on, babe. Come on, babe. Same thing with the men. You don't want to be dragging a woman around. You trying to invest and do this, and she over there talking about a $25,000-$30,000 wedding gown. No. Be like, babe, we can use that money and buy properties. See, y'all not on the same page, okay? But listen, if you are doing your healing work, I recommend, let me tell you something. We're going to have to push these men to get doing their healing work, because they're not doing it. Like you said, they're not doing it.
Or you got to be willing to cut it off if they won't. Because, as long as you say, because I even had one that said, oh, I'll think about it. It depends on how things are going with us. We'll see. I said, we'll see. It's either you'll do it or no. I said, it's not. I'm saying, like, let's go now. I'm just saying, what is your mindset about it? What are your thoughts about it? It's like, I need to know ahead of time. I said, because we're not even, and I'll tell them, because I'll tell them my background. I said, I spent a whole lot of money for this here. I said, I know what I know, and I want what I want. And I could say that to you with confidence because I spent money on it, because I've been doing my healing work. And I could say that, because it was the whole time. It's like, okay, here you go, legs open and let's go, and then it's not that anymore,
That's what I'm saying, y'all. When you pull out that health and healing, mental health, whatever car, they be looking like, whoa. You're like, don't be what me. Have you been doing your healing work? And so I think a lot of it starts with us as women. We've got to make that a standard. And they're going to have to pull up, as they said, they're going to have to pull up to the bumper. They're going to have to.
But that goes back to that desperation piece. It's like, if we're desperate, we're not going to require it, And it's like, well, I did my healing work. I can tell them what to do, and it's not like that. It's just not.
And then you get up there and spend all that money, have a wedding, get 2 years into the marriage when it wears off, and you looking at this demon with 2 heads, and you trying to figure out what is going on, and he's still dealing with something that happened when he was 6 years old, and you're like, I didn't have nothing to do with it, but you're the one that he feels loves him unconditionally right now, so you're gonna get the wrath of it.
Exactly.
Okay?
And Tiffany says, oh my God, I realized I recently had a man get so upset and tell me to find someone else because I'm not the one when I mentioned therapy and counseling. And I had that same thing. Oh no, I talked to my pastor. And I just told him it's not the same. I said, but they just don't understand, because like even in the Black community, there's still, even though there's a lot more talk about it, they got the Calm app on the commercials and they got some sports guys promoting it. It's still a lot of stigma about it. It's still our first thing is the church in the belt,
In the belt.
And we just need some help. Yeah. And it's just reality.
Right. So when they say, I've been talking to my pastor, I want you to simply say, oh, that's nice. So is your pastor licensed in mental health counseling or whatever? And they're gonna say, no, he's not, because he ain't. Okay, so
give you an assignment to do next week and let's work on it for next week. No, he ain't.
Ain't. So which means he ain't even qualified. He's not licensed to help you from a mental health perspective. We got to stop putting that on pastors. That's not what they're there for. Now, I do know some pastors. This church I used to attend, they had a pastor who was licensed. Matter of fact, he was a clinical psychologist, and he led the mentoring and family. I forget what they call it, but basically, when you're going through something, you go to see him, right? And so that's when I had just got divorced, and I went in to talk to him, and I said, my oldest son is going through some anger issues. And he said, we want to get him to talk to somebody. And so he simply picked up the phone, called a Christian counselor, and said, I have a young lady in my office who is a member here at the Summit Church, and we want to get her son in to kind of talk about some things. And I heard him telling him about the secretary or whoever answered the phone about divorce and anger issues. And they wrote it down, and they took my appointment right there. And I went, and guess what, y'all? Didn't pay a dime.
Okay.
I said, I mean, he said, don't worry about your insurance or nothing. Don't even worry about it. Don't even pull your card out. We will take care of it. He has 6 sessions. And then if he needs more than that, then we'll see. But I want you to go to this particular lady because she works with children and she's a Christian. And that's where we went. To this day, my oldest son, who was the one that went, when we passed by her office, going to the trampoline park, he says, Mommy, there's that lady that helped me. Yep, that's her.
Oh, that's awesome.
So guess what? Real. He won't have an issue with therapy from this point forward because he already went through it. Y'all see how easy that was to change the mindset? It is our job to do it. So my sons now know it's something. My youngest son, I'm like, son, you got to work on your anger a little bit. He said, maybe I need to go talk to somebody. Right? So that's one of the things that I feel like in my life that we have turned around. Like you said, Rebecca said, you can either pass down the trauma or you can pass down healing. Which one you want to pass down? So I'm passing down the healing to mine, and hopefully they will continue to do it, and we can reverse this quote unquote curse. Okay, particularly in our community. If you need to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody. Okay. So if you put that on your standards list, y'all gonna meet a lot of men. You're like, how do you weed them out? Oh, that's gonna help you out a lot. God just did you a favor, bro. Did you just say that? It's gonna help you out a whole lot. Put that on your list. How are you doing? Have you, do you do your healing work? First of all, you talk about what you've been doing and watch their expression. And then you can say, have you been doing your healing work? Because we all need to heal from something, and watch them go, They may not feel comfortable sharing it, but this is the thing. Here it is again. Communication. He can say, you know what? I don't feel comfortable talking about that right now, but at some point we will discuss it. What you gonna do with that? Okay, I'm open to that. I'm open to it. So you remember what he said. It's all about communication. It's all about communication and just being upfront. So to go back to what I was saying with the ladies who said, what do you say to a person when it's just not working? You just tell them, I really enjoyed this. I didn't feel like there was connection with us. I don't think maybe we're on the same road. Maybe we don't have the same goals. Something like that. That's your meat. Remember the truth sandwich. So you got your affirmation, you got your meat, and you close it up with another affirmation. But I have really enjoyed the comedy show. That was a great idea. I done laughed my stresses away for the week. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
So you basically told him that you don't want to go on a second date. And you just put an affirmation and then the message and then another affirmation. That's called the truth sandwich. So y'all got a lot of free coaching tonight.
A whole lot of free coaching. Thank you, Seema. That was awesome.
A lot of free coaching. So ladies, stop being desperate. You don't have to. They can tell us all day long, oh my God, y'all, Black women are not getting married. It's 10 to 1, this and 1. That's fine. That's fine. Don't even worry about it. Don't let it bother you. Don't even let it come in. Okay? Just do what you're supposed to do and expect that the person that God has for you will meet you on your journey when they're supposed to. Period. And guess what? Now, I'm going to really take it. I'm going to really get deep with some of y'all. And guess what? I'm 51. If it never happens and the Lord takes me from here, guess what? I did my healing work while I was waiting. Y'all understand? I did my healing work, what I could control while I was waiting. And I built my body, my brain, and my brand. So when I leave here and they're going to say, oh my gosh, we just Seema was so, she did this, she helped me. That's your brand. That's what you want after God takes you away from here. That's what you want. That's your brand. That's what you should be focusing on, single women and men. Focus on that. Focus on that. Because that desperation will attract, my goodness, another desperate person. And both of y'all just going to be up there desperate and messed up. And then later, like, this was not a good connection.
A whole lot meant.
Because you jumped in there too fast.
Exactly. We had a bunch of comments coming. I don't know what happened. Why I didn't see it. But I got right. I got absolutely body, brain, bland. That's right.
Somebody
I
said,
saw one that was a little bit
using
longer.
credit for their teeth. Yep.
Yeah, you read that one. But it was one that was a little bit longer. That I was like, oh, wow.
And my last one says, girl from Suddenly Tiffany. That's the last thing I got.
Yeah, amazing work. I can accept that. Great discussion. Oh, here it goes. Okay, so Tiffany said, you can see flags much easier when you've actually done the work yourself. That's true.
Tiffany, that is...
Okay, and Sankova Divine, yes, normalize mental health and healing. Yes, we have to do that. And a desperate mess, absolutely. The comments were wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you so much for all the engagement and the participation, the hearts that were flying the whole time that we were talking, such an engaging conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. It was just fantastic. If you're watching it on the replay, it was an incredible conversation about relationships, about dating, about standards versus preferences. I mean, and so many different things, even healing and generational healing versus generational trauma. And Tiffany says, thank you, ladies. But it's just been so fantastic, and loved it. And I loved how you detailed your coaching class that you have. It's a wonderful class, and I think it goes in line with my new book. So I just think that's awesome. My new book is called I Feel Better Already. And my book, it has healing stages, and it has 5 stages of healing. Like in 30 days, it's like every 6 days, there's something different. And the first part is about, how do I always forget the first part? The first part is about making a decision, and then it's accepting everything about where you are. And then it's about releasing the shame. building up your confidence, and then fighting to keep it. So, that same self-acceptance that you were talking about, and the self-reflection and applying everything, all that kind of stuff that you were talking about, it's that same kind of thing. So I think it's wonderful that, both of our works can work together for healing, like for dating and relationships and who we are as individuals, that they can handle it, another way with a workbook. So I think that is so awesome, that the work that you're
So
doing.
you said, what was it you said about the confidence and then fighting to keep it? That part.
Fighting to keep it, because that's the key. Because like I was sharing about, all the work it's been 25 years. I have been doing so much freaking work, and it's just like, I'll be good. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm a hot mess again. It's just like, okay. So, and one thing that I have learned, and like my therapist told me, she says, because what you're doing is for God. You're with my workbooks and stuff like that. I mentioned scriptures in it. I have prayers in it. Because my work is for God, the devil's going to send stuff to me. He knows what pushes my buttons. He knows what pushes my buttons, and he pushes them. So it's just like, okay, I got to have a toolbox to be like, okay, it's time to fight now. So it's like, I've built it up. I've built it up for a long time, but it's time to apply all that stuff. And you have to do it consistently. You have to do it consistently and go back and go back and go back. So that's what I loved about yours. It's like you had each layer of questions and, dig a little deeper, dig a little bit, and then dig a little deeper. It's the same thing, but it's so needed in so many areas of our lives, not just our dating, but our parenting and our just walking, just being here on earth and COVID.
Finances.
Yeah.
I always tell women, it's one thing, a lot of people do the Dave Ramsey or whatever. It's one thing to establish habits on how to spend your money and budgets, but who is going to figure out or become aware of why you spent the way you spent in the first place? Because a lot of it, our relationship with money comes from trauma too. So, like, for example, did you guys know that lack and poverty is trauma? See, in the Black community, a lot of the stuff that we went through, we just considered it living, but it wasn't living. It was really trauma. It was really trauma. We need to call it what it really was. So if you were growing up and you were living in a situation where y'all were always being put out or evicted and moving from house to house, that's traumatic. Because what it does is you never found a place to settle yourself. So then you grow up and you're trying to figure out why you can't really stay at a job. You always flying different places. And you're like, why do I do this? It's because you learn the part of life was to just, be going all over the place. You didn't know how to plant yourself anywhere. It shows up later. And some of the things that we just considered living in our Black community was not just living. It was trauma. It was trauma. And because we just went on and just felt like it wasn't really a big deal, it's going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I think that's why when you said fighting to keep it, because once you deal with something and you're doing really well and you're, because when you go through that healing process, you'll start having a little bit more creativity and the Lord will start speaking and all this. And then the devil's like, she thinks she's going, let me throw this in here.
Exactly.
Because see, I know that she has a problem with, her and her daddy. She's a daddyless daughter. I know that. So let me just bring this up. And then somebody from your past shows up with something, you're like, man, and all of a sudden they're like, what's wrong with you? And you're trying to figure out how in the world I get from on 10 2 days ago, and now I feel like I'm on 1. Because something came in and shifted it. That's when you got to go to your toolbox and say, okay, now what does Seema tell me to do? Let me open this up. Okay. She told me how to do my meditation, my journaling. Okay, call my therapist. See, that's as a coach, and I know you do it because we were trained by the best, Rebecca, is to give them a toolbox. You're not just paying us to teach you something and we take it away. We give you a workbook. So when stuff gets tight, you can go back and pull your stuff back out and say, let me see what Keisha taught me how to do. She said, I got to go through the guilt and the shame. Let me go back to step 1. Let me go back to step 1.
And you have to. There's no shame in having to go back to step 1.
No shame.
Yeah.
That's part of fighting to keep it. That's the part of fight. And that's why only 20% of us will do our healing work, because it is a sacred process. and you've got to continue it.
Yeah.
You've got to continue. And that's why people go to the first session and you're like, what happened? Man, that was too much. It was just too, they was asking too many questions and you quit.
Yeah. And it is hard. It gets real heavy. That stuff gets heavy. It gets
One
real
of my
heavy.
clients said, man, you ask these hard questions. Then she started crying. I was like, babe, it's okay. Because see, somebody needs to ask you these questions and make you think like, you know, I never even thought about that. That's a very good point. That's the whole point of this whole thing. So, but I have really enjoyed it, ladies. I want y'all to be equipped out here because it is, like somebody said, it's tough out here in these single streets.
It is.
It really is. And I want you to remember, delayed is not denied. If you don't remember anything I said tonight, delayed is not denied. Because God delays does not mean he denied you. And if you're like, what can I use as a frame of reference? I want you to think about David. He was told he was going to be the next king, I believe, when he was around 18. And it wasn't until he was 30-something he walked into it. You have been delayed, but you have never denied. Okay? It's coming.
It's coming.
But it's coming. And don't compare it to your sister girlfriend on social media because her delay might be 2 months and your delay might be 2 years. Okay?
That part.
We have to do another
real
comparison.
That's real talk. I mean, because it's not just with the dating, it's with anything. And especially with us in social media, whether you want to or not, you're going to compare, you know? So it's just like, you know, so when you recognize that you're doing it, shut it down. It's like, okay, this is a bit much. I'm, you know, recognizing what you're doing. And then you go and step out of it and then come back, you know, give yourself a little bit of break, you know? But you got
I have to remind myself all the time, Seema, and this is exactly how I talk to myself. Seema, girl, you tripping. You tripping. Stop doing that because comparison is poison to your purpose. Okay? When you pour the comparison in there, it starts getting poisoned because somebody else, you don't know what they were doing on the backside of the mountain. Okay? You have no idea. So let God help you walk yours out. And see, I'm 51, about to be 52. So there are times I feel like, man, I'm kind of late. And then I hear the Holy Spirit whisper, you right on time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're like, okay, God, I'm so sorry. I'm right on time. So whatever you need to do, honey, repeat to yourself. Awesome. I'm talking to all of y'all. Just say, I'm right on time. When you feel yourself comparing, say, nope, I'm right on time. Because this is your journey and nobody can plan it out. I mean, the only person who knows it is him. And he said that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
That's right. Yes,
they shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. And they're going to walk and they ain't going to faint.
Never faint. Never faint.
But not
every now and then. He said never faint.
Never faint. That's it.
Never. So we're going to be all right.
We're going to be all right. As long as we wait on him. That goes back to our original point. Stop being so desperate. It's going to come in its time. Okay?
Yes. Thank you so much for this, Seema.
You're welcome, dear. I enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. We're going to have to do another one on comparing. Okay.
Yes, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. I mean, because it's real. It's real. And especially, you know, as coaches, we have to be on social media, especially when you were talking about the 3 B's part of that brand. I have to be on social media. I have to see other people. And I see other people that are doing really good. Got their man and look again. It's like, okay, I don't have that. So it's just like, but what do I have, you know? It's important, you know? It's important. That comparison piece is huge. So did you have any final words, or is that your final word? No,
that was my final word. I just wanted everybody to know you might be delayed, but honey, you ain't denied. And that goes for the men and the women, in case a guy listens to this.
Comparison is poison thing. That was, Oh, comparison is poison to your purpose. That was fantastic. I mean, that flow was really, really, really poison to your purpose. So that is huge. I thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
And then my only last word is that we had a couple of comments. Love the transparency things, and looks like we got Somebody followed us. I'm right on time. Oh, I love this live. Awesome content, coaches. So thank you so much for that, Michelle. I appreciate that. And Tiffany and everybody's engagement. I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
the only way that I always like to end my lives is that, just in case nobody has told you guys today, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and I love you.
Love
Thank you so
you.
much for doing it on the replay and on right now. She said, I received it. Yes, Jesus. But thank you so much again, Seema, for your golden nuggets. But didn't I tell y'all that you're gonna follow me and shut up? So thank you so much,
Thank
Seema,
you.
for doing it, for blessing us with your presence. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Anytime.
All right, bye,
Good
y'all. Love you
night.
guys.